Okay, picture this. It's 8 p.m. on a Friday. Your dining room is absolutely packed. The energy is high, glasses are clinking, the kitchen is firing on all cylinders. Honestly, from the outside looking in, it looks like the ultimate restaurant success story. But look a little closer at the floor. You'll see servers practically sprinting, right? Stretched to their absolute limits, while guests are desperately trying to catch someone's eye just to get a second drink. Welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into the 8 p.m. dinner rush, and we're going to look at why being completely slammed might actually be masking a massive margin problem.
For independent operators, especially across Europe where full-service dining is such a proud tradition, that 8 p.m. rush is just a daily reality. But so is the drowning server. The data actually shows that 52% of staff report struggling with excessive workloads. They're essentially doing the jobs of two people, despite, not having four arms. Being fully booked feels amazing for the ego, sure, but it often hides this silent operational crisis right in front of us.
So, here's our agenda for today. We're going to cover 1. The 8 p.m. illusion. 2. The beverage margin hemorrhage. 3. The true cost of waiting. 4. Reframing the slammed dining room. 5. The hybrid service solution. And 6. Protecting staff and profit.
Let's jump right into Section 1. The 8 p.m. illusion and the reality of a slammed dining room.
We really need to unpack why a packed house gives us a false sense of financial success while our staff are quietly burning out on the floor. Just look at the sheer scale of this labor squeeze. We're seeing a 41% annual turnover for front-of-house staff. 7 in 10 operators have job openings they literally cannot fill, and 57% say understaffing is their absolute top challenge. So what happens? The average server gets stretched across way more tables. During the rush, great hospitality devolves into a reactive firefighting exercise. And when your staff are just running around putting out fires, the guest experience breaks down right when the volume is at its peak.
Which brings us to Section 2, the beverage margin hemorrhage, the silent profit killer. This brings us to a really painful truth, because when busy servers can't get back to a table for round 2, you aren't just missing a few extra sales. You are losing your most profitable items, period. Let's look at the core economics here. Food drives your revenue, but beverages? Beverages carry your margin. Typical food gross margins sit somewhere between 65 and 72%, but beverage margins soar to between 75 and 80%, with things like draft beer and liquor often hitting 85%. Let's just do the math real quick, because this is where it really hurts. Think about a standard $12 cocktail at your bar. The ingredients cost you about $2. That means every single time a guest wants a second drink at 8:30 p.m. but gives up because they can't catch a busy server's attention, you don't just lose a sale, you lose a staggering $10 in pure, unadulterated margin. And that math leads to a pretty wild comparison. Missing two $12 drink orders costs you $20 in lost margin, right? That actually hurts your bottom line more than if your kitchen completely burned a $25 entree, which only carries about a $17 margin. We obsess over kitchen perfection, but we just kind of accept losing out on highly profitable drink and dessert reorders simply because the floor is slammed. It's penny-wise and pound-foolish.
Moving to Section 3, the true cost of waiting, the psychology of the neglected guest.
See, the bleeding doesn't stop at lost drink sales. There's a much deeper psychological and financial consequence for the guests sitting at that table. We often assume food is the main reason people don't come back, right? Well, survey data busts that myth wide open. 40% of diners say they would never return after rude service. 35% say cold food is a deal breaker. But right behind that, 27% will abandon you forever because of long waits. When servers are frantic and guests feel neglected, they actually perceive that chaos as rudeness or bad service, even if the food is spectacular.
So why is that wait so damaging? It all comes down to the psychology of waiting. As the research notes, occupied time feels shorter than unoccupied time. When a guest is just sitting there, wanting to order a dessert or just pay the bills so they can leave, but they have zero idea when the server will return, that unexplained, unoccupied wait creates a deeply demoralizing feeling of powerlessness. It creates anxiety. And that anxiety actually pollutes their entire judgment of your food and your brand.
Let's look at Section 4, Reframing the Slammed Dining Room, the RevPASH metric.
This really changes how we should look at our dining floor. RevPASH, or Revenue Per Available Seat Hour, tells us if a dining room is actually making money or if it's just making the staff busy. And during that 8 p.m. rush, we see 3 massive bottlenecks that completely suppress your revenue. First, the wait to order. A slow greeting delays the whole meal. Second, the reorder lag.
This is where those high-margin drinks and desserts just vanish. And third, the post-process bottleneck. Traditional payment processing takes an average of 8 to 10 minutes. That is literal dead time, where a table sits completely idle, blocking the next party from sitting down.
So, what does that dead time actually cost you? Well, if these 15-minute delays across greeting, ordering, and payment cost you just one table turn per night, a 50-table restaurant loses roughly $2,700 daily in uncaptured revenue. Take a second to really think about that. You aren't just full, you are leaking inventory.
All right, Section 5, the hybrid service solution. High tech meets high touch.
So, how do we fix this without losing our souls as hospitality professionals? The answer is offloading the mechanical tasks. We are not talking about replacing your staff here. If you let an interactive QR menu act as a digital pressure relief valve to handle the menu shuffling, the point of sales data entry, and that agonizing 8 to 10 minute payment wait, you free up your human servers. They can go back to doing what humans do best: personalized guiding, genuine connection, and recovering gracefully from kitchen delays without totally melting down.
When you give guests this tool, it restores their perceived control, which immediately reduces their stress. It enables continuous ordering. They want another beer, they just tap a button, and it arrives. But most importantly, it recaptures the nearly 30% of total spend typically lost to later orders that guests just abandon when servers are too busy. Plus, it visually prompts those high-margin desserts while your staff focuses on delivering them with a smile. It's a win-win.
Finally, Section 6, protecting staff and profit. The ROI of the 8 p.m. rush.
Let's tie all these operational changes directly back to your ultimate bottom line: staff sanity and long-term guest loyalty. The data here is rock solid. When guests use digital self-ordering tools during peak times, average check sizes see a massive lift simply because they don't have to wait around. QR code ordering alone is linked to an average check size lift of around 27%, and while AI-assisted kiosks can push that even higher, the core reality remains the exact same. The point is, technology never forgets to offer a side of fries or a second round of drinks while your staff is slammed.
But look, the biggest payoff isn't just that one night's check size, it's retention. A one-time visitor has a lifetime value of about $26, but a retained regular, their lifetime value jumps to $685. That is a 26 times multiplier. And the 8 p.m. rush is the ultimate gateway to those regulars. If they feel ignored at 8 p.m., they never become the $685 regular.
And this is exactly why fixing peak hour friction is absolutely crucial. It stops invisible churn in its tracks. A mere 5% improvement in guest retention can increase your overall restaurant profits by 25 to 95%. You protect the gateway to sustainable profit just by making sure no guest feels trapped or ignored during your busiest hours.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final provocative question. Think about your dining room this coming Friday night. When a guest tries to order that second drink and just gives up because your amazing, hardworking staff are just too stretched, can you really afford to keep leaving $685 on the table every single night at 8 p.m.? Rethink the rush, keep your human hospitality front and center, and use the tools available to protect your team and your margins. Thanks for joining us.